Welcome back to the Lifestyle Lifters Show. And today I have a very special guest. She resides originally from Monaghan, Ireland, but she's currently living in Dubai. She's an online fitness coach and her name is Eimear Finnegan. Eimear, welcome to the Lifestyle Lifters Show. So great to finally connect. And
Hi.
Eimear, let's start out and share something about yourself that most people do not know.
Hi, Adrian. Thanks so much for having me on. So as you said, I'm a PT, I'm an online coach and now a group fitness instructor living in Dubai. I studied sports science and kind of fell in love with the training and coaching side of it. So I did then a PT and nutrition course alongside that. EF Fitness was born and I've been coaching since.
EF
Started
Fitness
very
was
much
born.
face-to-face.
I love it.
And now it's online.
It. And
Yeah.
what got you into fitness in the first place, Eimear? Like, was it something you always would have done growing up, or was it like just some kind of moment that clicked with you?
Yeah, so I've always kind of been into sport and fitness and played Gaelic football for years. So then I kind of was sure that I wanted to study that at college. And then just got really into training. The coaching kind of followed it from there. So
and here we are.
So
you're currently residing in Dubai. You've moved there now a couple of months. Eimear, do you notice much of a change just even in the fitness industry in Dubai compared to even Ireland?
Yeah, so I'm here about 5 months now and just kind of still settling in. I think fitness is massive here. Like each gym is bigger than the last and bodybuilding especially is just massive out here. So
absolutely.
I wouldn't say that there's many differences. I think it's just Dubai is on a much bigger scale. Like everybody's into it and yeah, but it's fantastic. Like some sick gyms and really good facilities. So I'm loving it.
Absolutely. And you know what, this kind of segues nicely to our first kind of topic I'd like to discuss, Eimear, because obviously when you're in these big gyms, as you were saying, like some are more bodybuilding-esque, or maybe some are more CrossFit based, for somebody new or someone with not a whole prior gym experience, it can be somewhat intimidating. Like I remember when I first started out in the gym, Eimear, this is only a small local one in Tuam, County Galway, where I'm from. And I would have played GA obviously growing up as well. So I'd never touched a dumbbell, never touched a weight before. So that was all new to me. So I just stuck with what I knew, which was literally the treadmill, the rower, and the bike. I might do
cardio.
Yeah, because I felt really, really intimidated. And obviously, it does require some element of confidence to actually, say, maybe 100%. I don't have a whole lot of prior experience in this, but I'm just going to go out there, going to lift weights with the big guys, the big girls, whatever it might be. So
absolutely,
someone currently feeling that, geez, I'd love to go to the gym, but I just don't feel that confident at the moment. Eimear,
I'd say firstly, confidence does definitely come with experience. So the more you grow in the gym, the more confident you're going to become. Like I don't know anybody who's walked into the gym for the first time and thought, here I am. Like everyone's going to be nervous and shy the first time. What I would say is, and it's probably easier said than done, but try not to care what people think. Like everyone is so concerned about themselves in the gym, especially there's one particular bodybuilding gym, Benus. Everyone's too busy looking at themselves in the mirror out here to even notice that I'm there. So odds are people are too focused on themselves. They're not worried about what you're doing. And everybody knows you have to start somewhere. But what I would say is to kind of help build your confidence, have a set plan or program in place. Like when you're going to go, if you know where you're going, what machines you're going to use, what you're doing, odds are you're going to feel a little bit better about the session and you're going to have a little bit of a clue what you're doing. But yeah, I would bring someone as well if you're really struggling then.
Brilliant.
Training with someone is definitely a confidence boost than moseying around the gym on your own. But yeah,
like getting someone there to show you the ropes, to show you around, as you said.
Exactly.
But I think the first point, genuinely, everyone in the gym, they're only really concerned about themselves.
Honestly,
no one even cares about, if you're doing your lat pull down wrong, or if you're doing your chin up or your bench press, whatever it might be, if you're not executing it properly. No one genuinely cares. But that being said, as you said, confidence comes from, saying you're going to do something and then doing it.
Exactly.
And having a plan there in place, having something to follow. It's so helpful and so beneficial just to know, that you're not just walking. Because this was me even when I did start out in the gym. You know, you'd start out with like bicep curls, then you do benching, then you do like some tricep work, and you finish with a bit of core. And you just completely neglect like your legs. You wouldn't even do any like upper back work, and then for your posture.
You didn't know what you were doing, but yeah,
because you didn't know what you were doing.
Yeah, it's comforting to know though that like everyone is in the same boat, and if you are really struggling with something, like someone in the gym usually will come over like and help you or assist you or something. So like everyone's there together. We're all there to kind of grow and progress, which is nice to know.
Absolutely. And I think we're kind of moving away from that. I don't like seeing these videos shared online of like, you know, some people like just taking videos of a newbie in the gym using the machine wrong, because look, nobody ever listening has ever executed everything 100% perfectly.
No.
And as you said, you know, you got to take some mistakes and you make some mistakes. And in order to do that, then you actually grow and you learn from it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic point. And just kind of going off this then, Eimear, I'm really seeing like a positive shift in the fitness industry when it comes to girls and strength training, because I know there's this kind of whole dogma before that, you know, does weight training make you bulky? And then, you know, any girl that did kind of take the leap of faith and go to the gym, it's just kind of like, oh, you lift the pink dumbbells over there in the girls section and you know, do like 100 rep sets of banded glute bridges. But you're someone, Eimear, and your form of training, it really epitomizes, like, I think the way the movement is going now, where you're not afraid to lift weights, you're not afraid to lift heavy, you're not afraid to pursue strength goals and, you know, do some chin-ups, do some of these like really advanced movements. So can you like just talk a little bit about that?
Away from that. 100% women now, still like some women and definitely some clients do use the term getting bulky, or if I lift this or if I go too heavy, will I get bulky? But I like to reassure them that no, like it takes a long time to build tissue and we're not going to get bulky overnight. But yeah, no, I kind of love all that training, just any kind of like weights and stuff, and especially body weight exercises are the toughest, like the pull-ups, the chin-ups, like they are the toughest, but it's great to see like women starting to do those in the gym. And yeah, we are definitely coming away from the pink dumbbells and the glute bands and stuff. Like I'm seeing so many people that I follow now like pushing serious weight, and even in the gyms out here, I actually work in like an all ladies gym, and I'm just like, it's so good to see everyone really pushing it now. I think we've broken through that.
Strength. Yeah, no, I love it. And just making that transition, like, and just getting them comfortable under the bar. Like obviously you're not just going to put on 100 kilos on the squat and say off you go. No. There's progressions, there's regressions in place, Eimear. So
exactly, yeah. And I love to for clients as well, I kind of make them progress with like either one rep or one weight at a time. And like so many of them have just said how much they love recording the progressions and how much they love seeing the numbers go up. So we're not just jumping. It is a slow progress, but it's enjoyable.
It is and progress is addictive. Addictive.
It is.
One of my all-time favorite coaches, though, Joe DeFranco, he always says you have to earn the right to like touch the barbell. You got to earn the right to add weight to the barbell. So 100%. Let's just kind of break this down now, Eimear. We'll dive into our programming brain a small bit, and this is applicable to both guys and girls, not just girls. Like say now someone is starting out. Like what do you feel are some of the fundamental principles to adhere to just in the gym? We'll leave nutrition, everything else outside of it for now. How would you be mapping out like a program? What's going through your mind there?
Well, for a client starting out, like what I would say 100% yes, get a coach, like probably face-to-face PT even, because online's great, but like if you've never touched a dumbbell before, you do want someone kind of there looking over you. If you've never exercised before, don't be like me, who faffed about for a year and did a different training program every day and no progression, nothing like that. Didn't actually really know the difference between a normal deadlift and a straight leg deadlift. So some days I'd feel it in my back, some days I'd feel it in my legs, and I was like, that's a bit strange. So save yourself the hassle and don't waste the time and just get a coach straight away. But if it's weight training, I'd say first of all, pick a mode of exercise you like. But if it's weight training, start simple. Start with like 2 or 3 compound movements. So your squat, your deadlift, your chest press, and then maybe add like in your accessories towards the end. Like
100%.
You're not going to move mountains your first week or two. Just take it nice and simple and slow, and plenty of rest in between. And yeah, I would say 2 to 4 days if you're a beginner. Depends on how many times you can train a week. But if you go from doing nothing to doing anything, chances are you're going to see results pretty quickly. So if you have like 2 days, I would say maybe 2 full body days.
Full body, absolutely.
Yeah. Try and hit every major muscle group at least twice in the week. And then once you kind of nail those basics, then maybe try to improve or increase your training load.
Yeah, I really like the full body approach, especially for someone starting out. Just because it's more so like just ingraining that fine movement pattern. Like if we were to like look at the 7 fundamental movements, okay, you got like an upper body push, a vertical push, and a vertical pull. So an example of like a vertical push, obviously the shoulder press will be what you try to build up towards, but maybe you just start out that with like a front plate raise, some element to that. You know, you want an upper a horizontal push, so like a basic push-up variation. And push-ups, Eimear, I feel they're such an underrated exercise, but they can really be progress. They can.
I'm still gassed after push-ups.
So it doesn't have to be anything like too fancy. So you got a vertical push, you got a horizontal push, then a vertical pull, a horizontal pull. So, you know, vertical pull again, chin up would be like the benchmark. We want to get there. But in order to start out with a chin up, you know, it might just be building your back and doing some
you're not just going to jump straight into it.
Exactly. And just adding these progress in place, a squat, a lunge, a hinge variation. And I feel like these are the fundamentals really, Eimear, that applies to like anyone who is basic to even, you know, as advanced as yourself.
Yeah, but like, even though I would be advanced or I've been training a few years, like that's still what my training consists of. Like I'm going to start with all those kind of major movements, and then like, you'll have like your variations, and then you move into single leg when you get a little bit more confident, or your lunges, split squats and stuff like that. But it all has to come kind of from the main movements. Like everything's going to come from these basic squats, deadlifts. You have to do the boring work then, don't you, to build so that you're fit to do the fancy stuff.
Boring and basic, though, it generates results.
It works.
That's the secret. You got to do the boring and basic. Like what we share on Instagram, sometimes it can be a bit of a highlight reel, but
100%.
In reality, if you get really good at like 10 to 15 different exercises and you rinse and repeat those consistently, change them up slightly, you'll get results.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, but people don't like to know that, or people kind of get bored easily.
I think that's the boredom is a big one, Eimear. But let's just actually say like someone then who's more advanced, Eimear, maybe they've been training in the gym now, you know, 2-3 years plus. They have a couple of years in the gym, but maybe they find recently they're somewhat spinning their wheels. They've been doing the same or similar routine. They haven't seen much results.
Yeah. Okay.
How can we overcome this plateau? Like what are some things we can do to change our training?
Yeah, plateau can be actually quite frustrating, but maybe first of all, that person, if they are just rinsing the same program, maybe a deload week could be absolutely no harm. Like kind of just take a step back from it, get fresh, and then go again. A few things for my training that I added in, especially on like squats and deadlifts, was pausing, like kind of either on the bottom of a squat or pausing when you're in your RDL, or just like slowing it down, like really exaggerating the eccentric. You're 4, 3, 2, 1. I found great improvements whenever I added that in. As well for a plateau, like just change up your reps and sets. Like keep your program relatively the same, but like change up certain things. Obviously something needs to change if like you're just kind of staying stagnant. But yeah, I would kind of deload, and then I would add in kind of stuff like rest, pause, stuff like that.
Brilliant. Absolutely. Yeah. And like I always say, everything works, but nothing works forever. And it is important to have variety, but you don't want too much variety where it's completely random. Like for example, you know, if you're doing, we'll say suppose like you're currently doing a barbell row, row. Okay, you could do then an incline barbell row where you do it off an incline, which provides you with more support for your body. And maybe you might be able to, maybe you might, or maybe you mightn't be able to shift as much weight. Or as you were saying, you're doing a barbell back squat. Okay, now let's focus on the 3 elements. We'll focus for a 3-second lowering, a 2-second pause, and then a 1-second where we explode up. You're still doing the same exercise, but you're actually adding in some tempo. You're changing the stress. Or even a deadlift, like, you know, if I'm doing a deadlift from the floor, then my next phase, I might do a deficit deadlift, whereby basically you stand on like blocks. So you're elevated and you got to pick the bar up from a higher position off the floor, which obviously makes it a bit more challenging. I'm still deadlifting. I'm still getting that hinge movement, but I'm just progressing in such a way that it's giving my body a new stimulus. Like
a shock to the system.
Exactly. Like I don't like saying like muscle confusion or anything like that.
No.
But there does come a time when you do got to change things up. So as you were saying, change up the reps, change up the sets. If you're someone who's always lifting like the 8 to 12 rep range, let's put you through a strength block now. Let's go like 5 by 5 or something like that. Or if you're always lifting heavy, well, you know what now? Let's do like muscle building cardio almost. And we'll put you in the 12 to 15. Just changing up the reps, changing up the sets, adding tempo, adding the same movement pattern, but different forms of exercise. These are all great ways for anyone. Doesn't matter how advanced you are, how much experience you have to actually change up your programming. And speaking of
keep
which,
it relatively the same, but certain things.
And speaking of which, like, what do you find then is your sweet spot for adding, like, for changing things up? What would your average program length or program block be?
So at the minute, my training it varied a lot whenever I first came out here. I've now kind of added in, I train mostly 3 or 4 CrossFit, and then I do the 2 to 3 bodybuilding, and because it's only 2 or 3 a week, they've kind of stayed like roughly the same. I'm doing like an upper lower, and then the third day might be like a full or like a push on legs. So I've been keeping them like relatively the same for the last few weeks. I've just kind of added in now a pause to certain things, or I've added in like my eccentric, like I mentioned. But yeah, reps, I'll kind of mix it up on my squats and stuff. They'll kind of stay between 5 to 10, and on lower body things, for example, if I'm doing like kickbacks or stuff, I will keep the reps like kind of high. It'll be like 15 to 20 certain for that. So I'm kind of targeting all rep ranges with different exercises.
Gotcha. So like for yourself then, Eimear, what would like a typical upper body workout look like for you? And obviously, you know, Eimear's training isn't going to be the same as someone just starting out, but even just a general general overview, Eimear, like what would a typical upper session look like for you?
Yeah, so my upper has been, I've been holding, I'm really working on my pull-ups. I've lost a lot of pull-up strength in the last few weeks, or since kind of coming here. So I'm trying to get that back again. I'm doing a hold. So it's a chin-up hold, and then I'm supersetting that with assisted chin-ups. So that's kind of, that's what I start off with full. It's the most taxing, so get that out of the way. And then I move into dips. So the target or the aim is to get those unassisted. They're still assisted at the minute. It's finding them a little bit tough, but yeah, we've got dips then. And then I'm moving into a batwing row. So kind of unilateral holding and pause and trying to work up that, again, your lats and traps just for my like chin ups and stuff again. Then I've got Z press. So I'm back to my push then overhead. And then I finish with some cable face pulls and lateral raises. So I'm kind of targeting the whole lot. But I kind of go pull, push at the minute.
Yeah. And literally, I'm just literally breaking down everything Eimear's done there. And when you actually break down and come back to those fundamental movements you spoke about, so you're starting off with a chin up, that's a vertical pull. Then you're doing a dip, that'll be kind of considered a horizontal push. Then you're doing a overhead press, that's a vertical push. And then you're doing a batwing row, which would of course be a horizontal pull. So you've got like the push, the pull, the 4 elements of those, and then you're finishing off with some shoulders. And what was the last bit, Eimear?
Shoulders, yeah, it'll be kind of the
and
face
face
pulls,
pulls. Brilliant.
lat raises on the cable, and then yeah, if I'm feeling good, some buys and tries.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah.
don't neglect the gun show. That's awesome.
No.
Yeah, absolutely. Like simple, sustainable, you know, good quality movements in there. And what about your lower body then, Eimear? What would a typical lower session look like for you?
Yeah, my lower is focusing a lot on glutes at the minute. So
Yeah.
I start off with my back squats, then I move into, I have lateral squats. So these are, I've only started doing these on this plan that I'm on now, and they're so tough. So lateral squats, I'd really recommend for the glutes.
Oh my God,
And
they're a
then
killer.
they're a killer. Curtsy lunges, then I do those as well. Then I move into hip thrusts and back extensions or hyper extensions, real killer. And then I have some step ups with the cable machine, and then I have my 2 variations of kickbacks. So it's very much glute focused and slow and controlled.
Geez, you're not kind to yourself at all, at all there.
No,
Eimear. My God, that
well,
was a lot of volume we're doing in one session.
it's a big session. It's actually who started coaching me since I came here, Coach Pig. I used to work with him back at home. So he has programmed that for me. So shout out to him. I said to him one day, I was like, this is a disgusting leg session. But it has to be done, especially when I'm kind of just doing the 1 or 2 a week.
Gotcha.
And try to get volume.
You're getting plenty. And speaking of which, so I always say, Eimear, like it's quite difficult to overtrain, but pretty easy to under recover. And of course, like the other 23 hours outside the gym are really, really important. And let's just kind of break down nutrition, because I actually feel for a lot of the clients that I work with, like the hour itself in the gym, like once they have a structure and a routine in place, once they show up, basically, that's actually not the most difficult part. It's what they do outside that hour to manage it. So like, I think there's still this like, this kind of, I don't like the way people perceive that, you know, if you want to get in shape and you got to train, it's just got to be chicken and broccoli then, and that like quote unquote healthy eating has to be boring. Because again, you're someone who epitomizes just your content like that. Some of your recipes look absolutely insane. You're in incredible shape, you know, you're a great athlete. So let's just kind of talk about nutrition, Eimear, and what would you say are some of the important principles, first of all, that someone needs to follow in order to be able to train maybe 4 or 5 times a week, but not be sore and stiff and tired all the time?
Yeah. So the chicken and broccoli, I think, gets a bad rap, doesn't it?
Not that there's anything wrong with it. I eat chicken and broccoli,
exactly.
no bother, but
I'd be kind of simple, and I'm a creature of habit. So like, I'd have no issue eating the same kind of chicken, rice in bed, blah, 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 every day. It's the fact that people think that's all you can eat, or you only can eat that to see results or to make positive changes on your body, is like just completely untrue. Like obviously you can eat like loads of tasty foods and get the results that you want, as long as you're sticking to obviously your macros and like suiting your goals. So if it's a deficit, then you're going to want to stay in it. But like, it's just not true. I obviously, as you said, loads of tasty recipes. Now the cooking has reduced slightly since coming to Dubai, but I am getting back into it. So there will be more. There'll be more recipes on the page. But yeah, I think it's so doable. Like, you can definitely eat what you want. And for beginners or for anyone training, I would say fuel your body. Like, you don't have to do as much exercise as possible and eat as little as possible to see results. Like, find out, there's loads of calorie counters online, or any coach I'm sure will help you give you your macros. You only need to be like in a slight deficit or a slight surplus. So to start off and like see the results, you don't need to go drastic straight away, I don't think. So yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, just start off slow, start off steady, and have some like good kind of follow to some fundamental principles. What are like some of your favorite principles that you would like coach to your clients, Eimear, just when it comes to making sustainable nutritional changes?
Yeah, so what I would say is, like, don't cut out anything like that you love. Obviously, the more you're strict, the more you're just going to want it. So with all my women, most of them follow a macro split now rather than a meal plan. So they are very all flexible. They eat what they like. So I would say, first of all, don't restrict. I'd say I encourage them to have 3 to 4 high protein feedings a day. And then whatever kind of high protein snacks in between, just so they're fuller and they're not eating unnecessary stuff. So then I would say I've spoke a lot this week to them about fueling sessions. So before it, I would be having your protein, your high carb meal, and then I've told them after to have like your high protein, high carb, low fat meal. So about 90 minutes to 2 hours before, and then about an hour to an hour and a half after. And those are simple principles like that I follow. And then obviously just like plenty of water and stuff like that. 100%. Mixing it up on training days, like having your carbs that little bit higher, and non-training days like having your fat that little bit higher for recovery. So all basic stuff, but easy to follow, and works really well if you follow.
Yeah, I definitely can agree pretty much every single thing you said there, Eimear. Like my philosophy is pretty much the same. Protein at every single meal. Let's try eat 3 to 4 square meals a day. And then like keep your carbohydrates around your workout. So that kind of before and after period. So speaking of like a kind of a pre-workout meal, so for yourself, Eimear, would say 90 minutes before you're about to bang out a lower body session, that deadly session you just broke down to us a few minutes ago. Like what would a typical meal look like for you?
Oh, well, mine is oats, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think I go a day without oats, whether it's overnight or warm. I just love. So I would have like 50, 60 grams of oats that 90 minutes before. Obviously with like a scoop or 2 of protein in it. And then post, I would obviously have something kind of like high carb, high protein as well. So Cocoa Pops is a great one. I'm back on the Cocoa Pops. Quick carbohydrate. Yeah, quick carb, and then just with like protein milk on top of that. Or if that's not on the cards, one day I'll just have like the chicken and kind of the white rice. So 100%. Kind of quick digestible carbs and high protein.
Absolutely, yeah. So keep your carbs around your workout, protein at every single meal. I'm kind of gone big now, Eimear. I don't know how you feel on this. I'm like micros too, and just like trying to eat as much like real food as possible.
Yeah.
And like I think I'm all about like having flexibility, but I also think like a great question to ask is like, does this food have ingredients? Yes or no? And if it does have ingredients, we try to at least limit their intake. Not saying that we just eliminate them, we just at least think about it, because you know, Mike Dolce, he's the nutritionist with the UFC, and he posed a great question, which kind of got me thinking a lot. Like he said, have you ever eaten 4 slices of bread in a row? Or 4 slices of pizza roll? Because I sure know that I have.
Definitely
but then he said, have you ever eaten? Then he goes, 4 apples in a row. And how come we can't eat 4 apples in a row, even though there's much less calories in 4 apples than 4 slices of pizza? So it's just always a good thing, I feel, to be thinking like, and just getting some veggies in, maybe 1 or 2 meals a day then on top. How do you structure like veggies for yourself then, Eimear? Because they can kind of cause, you know, gastrointestinal issues if you have them too close to your training.
Yes, thank God now. No, I wouldn't really suffer from that. But kind of any of those like main meals, like the chicken, rice, and veg, I tend to have like 100 to 150 grams of like mixed veg with that. Then in the mornings I'll have like either berries or a banana with the oats. So there's plenty of veg throughout the day. Now it wouldn't be with every meal, but definitely 2 to 3 good portions of veg throughout the day.
Absolutely. So what would a typical day's eating then look like for you? So before your workout, you're having your oats. After your workout, you're having your Cocoa Pops and your protein.
Cocoa Pops, yeah.
Do you train in the morning after your oats? What's your routine like?
If I train early, it will be fasted, and then I'll kind of have the oats and the Cocoa Pops after, and then lunch nearly is always like eggs of some sort, and then in the evening, it'll be a lot of chicken curries, bolognese, or pizza wraps is a big one. Since I came here, we're big into pizza wraps in the house, so it's all really simple food, but that's just what works. Like we love routine here, and yeah.
Absolutely, delicious. But I love the way you mentioned there, like just you never said the word diet. Like it's just more so foods that you love.
No.
You're not eliminating anything.
Yeah, no, I haven't been dieting now in a good 5 or 6 months. It's very much just kind of going with the flow here, but still mindful, mainly of protein at the minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're not putting ourselves under any pressure here at the minute. Just kind of easy breezy.
And just balancing it all into the lifestyle, which kind of segues into our next point, Eimear, because
Yes.
obviously I feel a lot of people our age, we're around about similar enough age, like a lot of our kind of audience, they want to look good, they want to feel good. They do care about, you know, their physical appearance, and they do take pride in their numbers and what they do in the gym. But, you know, come the weekend, and they also want to go out. They want to have a couple of drinks, or maybe like go to a restaurant and eat out on a Saturday evening. So for yourself, Eimear, because it's hard to get away from it in Dubai with zero gravity and all these events.
Oh my God, I know.
And we're not pro athletes either. We're not pro bodybuilders. We don't need to count every single little macro. How do you kind of balance, Eimear, the social life with your fitness? How do you fit both into your lifestyle?
Yeah, I'm definitely still trying to find the perfect balance, but it is getting a little bit better. When I first came, it was a lot of brunches, a lot of drinking, a lot of eating whatever I liked, which is great, and I loved every minute of it, but all in moderation. So I'm sure nearly everyone and most of your listeners have heard that kind of the 80-20 approach. It's probably just the handiest approach for everybody. Now that doesn't mean 80% of the time you're great and 20 you just do whatever you want, but 80 you're trying to eat like nutritious, or what people think healthier. Now, healthy is a broad term, but what people would consider more nutritious foods, and then 20% just enjoying like certain things. That would be the like method that I would recommend. And then if you're going out on your Saturday or your Friday for, if you know you're going to have like a big meal or an off-plan meal, I've seen people call them, then like, I don't like the term bank calories, but if you know you're going out for that night, just like maybe reduce your portions throughout the day. Like, don't skip any meals, don't do anything, brilliant. just reduce it, and then you might not be in a deficit, but you might not be in as much of a surplus. And then getting straight back to it the next day. It's so easy to just kind of wallow and feel sorry for yourself and eat what you want, but the next day is nearly more important than the night out. Getting up, getting active, and getting back on plan is a big one for me.
I love that term, off plan meal there that you mentioned. That's a instead of saying cheat meal or whatever.
I hate
that's really nice. Yeah, absolutely.
What are you cheating on?
What are you cheating on is right. No, that's a great way to look. But I think you brought up a really important point there too. Not to skip meals on the day that you're going out. Just reduce the portion sizes, because if you go out on a night out and you're absolutely starving, well, guess what? Once you get a drop of alcohol into you, absolutely, what's the first thing you're gonna? Yeah, you're on the floor. And you know, it might only be 10-11 o'clock at night, and you get a smell of food, and you are going to be absolutely craving it because you've
eat whatever you want. Whatever's inside. 100%.
Brilliant.
We're all guilty of it. So
100%. 100%. Yeah, and I love the way you mentioned too, like not to then do the dog event the next day. I think as you said yourself, Eimear, that's where a lot of people fall down more. It's not the day 100%. Off, it's the day after. It's the takeaway, it's the fry in the morning, it's the fizzy drinks and just the comfort eating while you're in bed. What would your like strategies be? So like the day after, what do you try and do even after a night out?
Thank God, nearly every weekend I'm working here, so I have no choice but to just get up and get out. So I would try to train if I'm feeling like, if you're really not up for it, there's no point killing yourself, but I would try to do even a little bit, even if it's as much as like getting up for a walk, just to kind of get out of the house and get active the next day. Drink loads of water. That's a big one, I think. And like, don't restrict then either. Like, if you want your takeaway on the Sunday, do, but like, don't let it roll into the whole week. Like, don't let it roll into a bad week or bad month. So I would just get up, get active, drink loads of water, and if you plan your meals the night before, like maybe plan for Sunday what you're going to have if you go out on a Saturday night. Nice whenever strategy. I was really tracking, that kind of kept me on track. But those would be the big ones.
Brilliant. I love it. I love it. Fantastic. And just finally, so like, is there anything you're kind of working towards yourself then, Eimear? I know last year, you and we did a photo shoot round about the same time of year. I think you were a few weeks after me. So are you doing anything similar this year, or what are your training goals?
So yeah, I've kind of turned full circle this year. In terms of training goals, I'm not really focusing on physique at all. Last year was so physique focused. So this year my goal is improve strength all over, but mainly upper and overheads for things like cleans and snatches. So I really want to tidy up all those things in terms of like CrossFit training and stuff. And then other goals, I just kind of want to improve obviously my online coaching business, and a few collabs and stuff coming up and programs coming out. So it's going to be a big year. Those would be the main things that I'm working towards this year.
Absolutely. Building strength, building the biz. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's just kind of wrap it up. So Eimear, like, what are like 1 to 3 takeaways then you'd like our listeners to implement? Training, nutrition, lifestyle, and anything related to what we spoke about today.
Yeah. So firstly, make sure whatever training program or plan you're on that you enjoy. Like, life's too short to be like going and doing something just for sake, or doing it to punish yourself. So make sure the exercise that you're doing, like, you really enjoy and you're getting something from it. I would also say a takeaway is that it's not all about training and nutrition either. Like, it is so important to enjoy life as well and find the balance. But yeah, those would be my kind of big two. Enjoy what you're doing, and then know that like it's not the be all and end all. Training is not. Training, lifestyle needs to be balanced together.
I love it. Fantastic. Brilliant. Ian, before I ask my final 2 questions, I just want to acknowledge, I think I really love your message, and the message you're putting out there, especially amongst girls who are kind of somewhat conscious of, does weight training make you bulky or not? Should they go to the gym or not? Should they lift weights? Like, I think your videos, your training, and your food too, to show that it doesn't need to be boring. Like, I think you have a really positive and just great message that you're putting out there. No, absolutely. But I really feeds off your content. So I really want to acknowledge you for that. And I really think that, like, hopefully more girls are looking at you as a model of like how things can and potentially should be done, to fit into your lifestyle and also to be able to enjoy yourself. But my final 2 questions, so for you, Eimear, let's just, I'm big into routines and morning routines, and I'm always curious, like, what about everyone else's routine? So what do like the first 60 to 90 minutes of your day look like, Eimear? Do you have any morning routine or rituals that you try to implement and follow?
Yeah, so getting up and going straight to work is like kind of first of all, but to get there I'm like on the train for a while. So my kind of morning routine is now revolving around either a podcast or reading a book, reading a novel. So that would be the 2 kind of things that I do in the morning. I did kind of try the meditation, and do you know what, it just wasn't sticking at it. So I think it's much more beneficial now for me to read a book or to listen to a podcast. So that would be one of the 2 is in my morning routine every morning.
Gotcha. And the thing I like about reading a book or even listening to a podcast, you're somewhat in control of what you're actually feeding your mind. If you just have the radio on commuting to work, Brian Kane always used a great analogy, like make your commute a library on wheels. And you want to try learn as much as possible if you have this bit of downtime. So if you're driving to work and you have 30 minutes to spare, why not actually put on a podcast about something you actually enjoy? Or why not, if you're getting a bus or commuting on a train, as you were saying, why not read a book and try to educate yourself, as opposed to just, listen to the radio all the time where you don't really gain a whole lot from it. I really love that as well. And finally, seeing as this is the Lifestyle Lifters show, Eimear, tell me, what does your definition of like living a successful lifestyle look like?
So I think living a successful lifestyle would be a happy lifestyle, like one that you're looking forward to every day, you're enjoying what you're doing. And that would be success. A job that you enjoy, living with people that you enjoy, and yeah, being happy.
Awesome. Can't argue with that. We can't argue with that. Eimear, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. And for all the listeners out there, I'd really appreciate if you would leave a rating, if you would subscribe. And Eimear, finally, before I forget, actually, tell people where they can find out more about you.
Yes, so you'll find me on Instagram, just Eimear Finnegan 23, and Facebook as well. It's the same, but I don't think many people use Facebook anymore. So you can get me there on Instagram, Eimear Finnegan 23, and I will be starting signups for March online coaching if anybody is interested. But yeah, that's where everyone can find me. Adrian, thank you so much for having me on. And yeah, great to chat.
We'll have to do take two. Eimear, been an absolute pleasure. Have a great day.
Okay, thanks, Adrian. Thank you.